Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Obelisk Lounge. Y'all, I was supposed to be live at 6:10 and I was asleep at 6:10 because I was taking a nap. I laid down to take a nap at 5. And then next thing you know, and mind you, I set my alarm for 20 minutes, but I slept through that. So my apologies. I am here. I was tired. But anywho, this video, it's not going to be that long unless I have some people join. Unless I have some people join. I just want to say a few things about the documentary. I'm not going to go in depth into like the details of it. Like, this is not a review of the documentary. It's just a spiritual perspective, about chaotic people, because honestly, some people are born to be chaotic. Some people, the alignment of their soul, and even the alignment like of their spirit. And when I say spirit, I mean like the capital S, like your actual spirit. And I'll talk about this in Spirit Communication 102. The alignment of their spirit is just off. It's born to be rebellious with no cause. It's born to be chaotic. It's born to be destructive, right? And unfortunately, sometimes that chaos and that destruction and that rebellion, just with no absolute cause, not because that's just what you want to do, or it's just because you are just a chaotic individual, right? You have ulterior motives when it comes to life, and you may not even be aware of those ulterior motives because you don't remember the different things that it is that you agreed to do when you came here. You don't remember maybe different agreements that you maybe made with certain entities and adversarial forces in a past life, and different things of that nature. Just so many different reasons as to why we have people like Mackenzie Sharilla, who intentionally, by way of the courts, not me saying that it was intentional, but the court said that clearly her shooting, I'm sorry, not shooting, her what was I thinking about? Oh yeah, I was thinking about school shooters when I was talking. But her literally driving into that wall, deliberately unaliving her boyfriend and their friend, it takes a certain kind of person to do that, right? And that intent, in the intentionality of intentionality of it, right? It takes a certain type of person to do that. And so from a spiritual perspective, I just feel like that the alignment of her spirit with the capital S was just totally off. And when I say spirit, I'm talking about maybe the spirit of, not maybe, but I'm specifically speaking about the spirit of a person's head, right? Your consciousness as well, the seat of your consciousness, as well as your subconscious too. Like, something is off to be able to do that to people. Because although folks like to say, oh, crimes of passion, oh, this, oh, that, which all of those things are very much so true. You get someone angry enough, you betray or do something crazy enough to somebody, most definitely a crime of passion is very much so possible. And maybe sometimes, well, no, I ain't gonna say that part. But yes, very much so possible crimes of passion are at times, but this was not a crime of passion. This girl, let me pull her up. Let me see. This girl and people like her were just born to be, let me see. Share screen. Let me see. Screen sharing is easiest with two. I'm trying to share my screen. Let me see. Oh, okay. Here we go. Like, people like this girl, right? Even in the interview, her ending interview, it just gave me the vibe that she was I don't, you know what? Let me not put unapologetic on her. I'm not gonna put unapologetic on her because for the one thing about it, she's looking at it from the perspective of I don't want to spend the next 15 plus years in prison because her next parole hearing isn't until 2037, right? So she's coming at so she was coming at this interview from the perspective of that she doesn't want to spend that time there in jail or in prison, rather. She's not in jail, baby. She in the clanker. Okay, she is in prison. And so she was coming from that perspective of it. But is she apologetic? I don't think so. Even in this, from my opinion, but even in these stills, like court. This was also in the Netflix documentary. I know there's a Hulu documentary. I didn't really watch it, but even in this, like, it's more so she seems sad that she's about to go to prison and that she didn't get away with it. Because look at this car. Look at this car. Terrible. It's even a miracle that she even survived. Because how could you be so angry, so teed off, right? To the point where you deliberately drive into a brick wall. And then supposedly, according to the courts, she actually, let me stop sharing. She actually mapped out what it is that let me see. I'm sorry, I'm gonna read the comments when I finish this statement. But supposedly, according to the courts, she actually mapped out the path the day before she actually decided to run into the brick wall. According to the court, she actually surveyed the area first beforehand. Like, they can tell by the GPS, and I think in her phone or maybe her car or both, I can't remember. But they were able to tell that she actually mapped out how she was going to do this a day before. Okay, let me read the comments. A former inmate says she would make fun of the other inmates who didn't have money. Is that, you mean inmate or classmates? Like, they would make comments about their shoes or something else, or somebody that's delusional to think she would survive? No, I don't think her mind. See, here's the thing. I don't think her mind was that delusional to think that she would survive. I'm pretty sure that she thought, but she also, in the documentary, they said she was the only one wearing her seatbelt, while the other boys, and they said she didn't even try to hit the brakes either. They can tell by the road. Oh, prison inmate. Okay, yeah. Wow. And she seemed like the type. And all of a sudden in prison too, it seems like she got this black scent. You know what I'm saying? It seems like she has this tough girl persona. And I really don't believe that she's sorry. That's why the topic of the video is really like from a spiritual perspective, because just her overall, the alignment of her spirit is just off. And I really do believe that she is just one of those people who were just born to be chaotic, who were born to be adversaries, who were born to be rebellious on a whole nother level. And rebellion is necessary sometimes. So I'm not talking about rebellion, just rebellion like against the system or against oppressors. I'm not talking about that type of rebellion. I'm talking about when you are a rebel with no cause. Okay, a rebel with the cause is different than a rebel without no cause. You just want to keep up shit just for the sake of keeping up shit. You just want to terrorize people just for the sake of terrorizing people. Like, you in prison, why are you making fun of other inmates who don't have money? Why are you talking about other inmates' shoes? That bitch just crooked. She's a crooked asshole. I don't like, just crooked, out of order, And I'm happy you put that in the chat, because now I feel like I can speak more freely about her, because she's just off. She is genuinely off. And when it comes to people being born with their spirits out of alignment, sometimes this can come by way of the parents, right? Sometimes it can just come through your DNA. whether it's your parents, whether it's your grandparents, or even your great grandparents, because epigenetics is a thing. Epigenetics is the study of basically how ancestral behaviors and different things like that can manifest in later generations, in later descendants. And so that has actually been proven by science. So for centuries, you've been having indigenous spiritual practitioners and spiritual belief systems that have been saying this. And so now people have gone to do the research in the actual field of science, or Western science, earthly science. They've gone to do the research and have shown that epigenetics is actually a thing. And so I think just epigenetically, from my perspective, she's just a screwed individual, because her parents, they seemed to baby her. They were letting this girl just do all kinds of things. Like, why is a 16, 17-year-old able to live with their boyfriend? Why are they not, or their girlfriend? Like, why are they not just at their parents' house? If the parents are like not abusive, if they're not unfit. And clearly in this situation, I mean, from my opinion, they seemed like unfit parents, but that's just my opinion. They weren't abusively unfit or anything like that from what we can see and from what we know. But I feel like she definitely gets her behavior from her parents, because the way her daddy was just like, yeah, you can smoke, you can smoke, it's okay, it's, it's better than you doing other stuff. And it's like, yeah, you can control what your children are gonna do, quite as it's kept, especially when you're not in their presence. But they also need to understand that that is not okay, and they should try to model better behavior for their children. She didn't have proper behavior. Not only was she born out of alignment, she also did not have people in her life, or I ain't gonna say people, but parents. Let me be specific, because I don't want to misspeak about anybody in her life who maybe did try to steer her the right direction, right? Because one thing about it, when people are born into this world to be chaotic individuals, it does not matter what you try to do to positively influence them, what you try to do, what resources you may try to hand to them. If they are born to be chaotic assholes, that is just what they are going to be, because that is their destiny. That is their purpose, to be a chaotic asshole. Okay? Period. Look at King Leopold and what he did to Africa and the Congo. Look at him. Look at I don't want to say the obvious names because we already know them, but look at Trump, look at Vance, look at Peter Thiel, like all of these different people, right? These are people who are not born the correct way. I don't necessarily think that they are born, I was about to say born having a choice, but they were born having it. Well, they had their choice was clear. And when I say born not, or when I was about to say born not having a choice, I mean like sometimes people can make certain offers and deals. Like, of course, obviously, like once they grow up, they get here, for certain things, especially when they find out who their family lineage might belong to. And I'm speaking more so along the lines of like royal families who are charged in this earthly realm to disempower, right? To impress. I'm speaking more so from that perspective, because you want to upkeep the family name and the family's mission of oppression, of chaos, of demonic rage on the world. You want to keep that up. And so I think a part of Mackenzie's, I don't know if she's necessarily on that level, but she was definitely born out of alignment, or out of alignment. Well, in alignment to be chaotic. I'll say that because I don't want to misspeak, but she was definitely born in alignment to be chaotic. That was her mission. But right, yes, Jay Allen, no consequences or no boundaries. Like, she had terrible parents. And I'm not a fan of really necessarily calling parents terrible. I am a fan of telling the truth, but I want to be mindful of how I speak on this here internet about it. But yeah, like they just didn't give her no consequences or no boundaries. And then the trick was crazy too, because she doing love spells on this boy. Girl, you doing love spells in high school to keep somebody? Girl. In the Netflix documentary, one of her friends, I think it was one of her friends, said that Mackenzie was doing love spells to try to keep this boy around. And the thing about it is, the love spell is probably what backfired on her, but which also ultimately led to the demise of the other two boys, which is so sad. And it's so unfortunate. And as parents, I'm not a parent, but I can understand from a parent how it's like I wouldn't want the parents to feel necessarily guilty, the other boys' parents necessarily to feel guilty about them allowing their sons to hang out with Mackenzie, because as kids grow up, especially in those teen years, you cannot always control what they're doing. You're just not going to always just be around. Trying to choose my words gingerly, but actually I'll just leave it alone. Yeah, I'll just leave that part alone, because I can't think of a way to say what it is that I want to say in a way. But I will say this: the parents shouldn't be the parents of the other boys. I don't think they should feel guilty necessarily about letting their child hang around him, because they were going to do that regardless. Even if they probably did put their foot down and say, hey, my mom and dad said I can't fool with you no more, they were still going to be around there. They was probably still going to be around there. She does need structure. And she need her head turned right. She need a head rogation or something. If that would even help. I don't even think that would help, because it's just she didn't choose structure and uprightness in this lifetime. She chose chaos. And it's so clear through all of her actions, to be so young and to be that chaos. Like, that is the life that it is that you chose. Love spell, she probably got, girl, you already know. Some bullshit she done picked up off TikTok. Girl. Don't even know what she doing. But she needs to stay in prison. She needs to stay right where she is. She needs to stay right where she is. She does not need to get out. I thought about doing a reading, but I really don't feel like it. And then also because those other two boys are not here. So I don't even want to know what their last moments were like, or even like display that on the internet. I feel like that's unethical. And I try to be an ethical spiritualist. Well, not try to be, I just am an ethical spiritualist. Love spell she got from TikTok. Yeah, she needs structure. And I'm trying to figure out how she doesn't have a herniated disc from the crash. I'm just now seeing that comment. I'm trying to figure out how she doesn't have a herniated disc from the crash. Girl, right? And I think her leg was fucked up though. Both her legs. I think her legs was towed down. But she walking now. She ain't in no wheelchair. Because that car was the fool. Let me share my screen again. That car was the fool. And I know this live is so unstructured for anybody that I just wanted to talk about it. I didn't have any key talking points. Really. I may or may not leave this up because it's not really structured. I just wanted to see if people were going to come and talk about it with me. Thanks, Jay Allen, for joining. Let me see. See, look at this car. Toe up. And she's so crazy, she don't even realize what a blessing it is that she walked out. Like, that is absolutely terrible. And quite frankly, I really do feel like even though parents can't directly always control what their kids do, I want to say because her parents are apologists for her and make excuses for her, that it's literally their fault. They are part of the blame too, because you knew your daughter be underneath the influence. I'm sure you knew your daughter was terrible because she was terrible acting in school. So she was terrible acting at home. You let her drive, let her have access to a vehicle. Like, this is on her parents too, because those other people don't get their children back, and that's not right. Your raggedy ass child took these other two parents, sets of parents' children away from them. Look at her face. Like, ain't nothing, like, as I read her face, there is nothing about her that is remorseful. I feel like she wishes that she never did it, so that she doesn't, so that she's not in prison and that she doesn't have all this negative backlash. But I also feel like there is a glimmer of her, like, in the gut of her stomach. As I look at her pictures, like, I'm picking up on her energy a little bit. She, like, in her stomach, there's like a small little knot in her stomach where she wishes that she did not put herself in this situation. And she really is trying to convince herself that it was not intentional. But she knows deep down it was intentional. As I look here at her crown, like, she knows that it was intentional. And she knows that's where she deserves to be. But she's in the process now of trying to convince herself of that, trying to tell herself lies. And that's actually a way that some people escape karma. Or not necessarily even karma. I want to use a different word. Escape consequences for their actions. But baby, you gonna pay on the front end or the back end. But you gonna pay. You gonna pay. This another mother effer who's so in spirit, just all out of it. You can look at him and tell. And I'm not talking negatively about his looks, but I'm talking about look at him with your spiritual eyes, not your physical eyes, with your spiritual eyes is what I'm talking about. Your anjana, okay? Your third eye chakra, okay? Look at him with your spiritual eyes, and you can tell that he is also wayward. He's the one that unalived those Parkland, Florida students a few years ago. Trying to be mindful of my words and also sensitive, because these are real people and their families are still hurting and living. This the Nashville, like, these are people that are just not born right, y'all. Some people are born this way. Some people, life circumstances, not everybody is born. Oh, y'all can't see. Y'all can't see my screen. Now, some people, of course, life circumstances cause them to go out of control or be out of control, to go crazy, lose their mind. But some people are literally, they're not crazy. They have not lost their mind. Look at him. They're literally like this mother effer. Like this mother effer. Proud. So turned upside down. Spirit with the capital S of his head turned upside down. Let me see what the comments say. Let me see. That's what I think too. She reacted on impulse and doesn't want to be honest with herself. No self accountability at all. Precisely. Yeah. Precisely. Precisely. And it was planned though. So it's like she did act on impulse, but it was also premeditated. It was premeditated according to the courts and according to the police force. It was premeditated because she traced her route or her path the previous day. Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining, Jay Allen. That's really all I wanted to say. If more people had joined, I would have liked to have a more robust discussion. But this right here was just fine. Thank you, Jay Allen. I appreciated it. Because this video wasn't meant to be long anyway and drawn out. I just wanted to let the people know that not everybody is meant to be born on the right-hand side of things. Some people are born to naturally to a left-hand path of life. That's just how they are led to show up and show out here on this earthly plane. But yeah. But thank you for joining, Jay Allen. I'm going to go ahead and end the live at 26 minutes. I appreciate anybody for watching. I might private this live since we're just speaking freely. But if I don't private it, remember I have these upcoming classes at the Obelisk Lounge. Next weekend, I have Spirit Communication 101. Discerning the Voice of God. And the next day, Sunday, I have Spirit Communication 102, Understanding and Working with Your Higher Self. Okay, these are your foundations to your spiritual practice. So if you're somebody who wants to divine, who wants to channel, who wants to communicate with other beings, maybe even outside of your spiritual court, and things of that nature, these classes are your foundation to that. These classes help you to connect to the spirit world in a safe way. It helps you to explore the spirit world in a safe way because you know who it is who you're talking to. You know how to call on your spiritual team for support and actually get their attention and know that it's them and not some other force. I don't want to say necessarily an adversarial force, because it could just be a force that's nosy. But if you don't want a nosy force, okay, a nosy spirit around you, and you just want your team while you go explore the spirit world and get information, then these classes, these 4 are your foundations. Oh, and 4 is the number in numerology of foundation, of building. Come on, alignment. Come on, alignment. That's what happened when you born with your spirit in alignment, your spirit and your soul in alignment. You just move, and everything that you do just be in alignment. It be willed for it to be so. Okay. But anywho, 103 and 104 will be coming up. 103 will be in June, and 104 might be in late June, like that last week of June or early July. And all the information in these classes is not information that you will get from a book. It is not information that you will find online. Okay. This is all very unique information that each member of my spiritual court, or collective voice rather, of my spiritual court contributed to. So the true God, the supreme God, is the one who designed and spoke through me for Spirit Communication 101. My higher self has designed the 102 class. The ancestors, when they get to 103 and we talk about the ancestral realm, they designed that class. My spirit guides as a collective voice, when we talk about the rims are something that is outside the rim of a cup, right? The rims of your spiritual court, my spirit guides are writing that class. So this information is not coming from me. This information is being channeled from these more advanced and higher beings in my spiritual court as a gift to the people who need that help in that direction. So if you feel as though you are someone who needs a help and direction, then these set of classes are probably for you. And maybe 103 or 104 may not be for you. Maybe you just need to only communicate with God and your higher self, right? So yeah, you'll find that out after you take 101 and 102 and you go through the 21-day activation practices that I have outlined in them. But anywho, thank you all for watching. Have a good one, and I will see you all in the next video.